IPJ, my man! John Buckets! Buckets! What's going on, man?
Oh, I'm alive, Ian, and sometimes that's all we're going to root for. I'm sure you're going to bring it up, so I'm going to beat you to it. We were supposed to record an episode of FC Stoppage Time last week, and somebody had a bit of an allergic reaction and had to stop the recording entirely and go to the hospital, which seems kind of like, oh, my second, damn it, I forgot you had that picture. My second home right now. As you can see, Ian, it's been a tough couple days for me.
Yeah, now can we ask exactly what this reaction was? Was it anything to do with your significant other?
That poor girl. No, it had nothing to do with my significant other. That's a tough misslip. No, I'm allergic to eggs. How shitty is that? I'm 30 years old. I've eaten 6 eggs a day for the last 5 years. Then that one morning, my body just said, hey, Buckets, you're done. Never mind. Oh.
Well, listen, if you're going to pick a time to be allergic to eggs, it's probably at the same time that eggs have gone through the fucking roof. I mean, it's ridiculous how expensive eggs are. I love eggs, and I love eating egg yolks in particular. However, I've recently had to stop that because, as you know, I'm getting fucking older. And the cholesterol says no to the egg yolk. So it's just the egg yolk that you're actually, affected by.
Yep, just the egg yolk. And maybe you're right. Maybe this is my body's way of telling me, Buckets, we don't want you spending $14 a day to eat these damn eggs. We'll help you out here. But no egg yolks. I might try the whites from Costco. See how that goes.
Yeah, we're not yoking around today, Buckets, because we're getting back into a big-time show and an episode of Stoppage Time. We do apologize to everybody out there for what happened in the previous episode. We were going to drop one over the weekend, but of course, as you can see, Buckets had an emergency, and we had to attend to that. First and foremost, making sure he was okay. Clearly, you can see he's okay. Well, at least we think he's okay. It's never actually been fully okay, but he looks okay now. I want to let everybody know that we should jump out in the Stoppage Time socials because we are pretty active out there on TikTok, Instagram. Of course, our Twitter will always be active as well. Buckets, where can people find you on your social media platforms and also subscription services?
You can find me on Bucket John Betts over there on Twitter. You got to make sure you're following FC Stoppage Time on TikTok, on Instagram to get those shorts. You can also follow me on Dub Club to get my quote unquote premium plays. That's just where if 3, 4, 5 bets a day isn't enough for you, I got you covered with an extra 5 going on Dub Club.
Well, after recent success of our Champions League special, where we were doing countdowns from 60 seconds and we got pretty much every single game in Buckets, which was quite ridiculous. Plus, we were very successful during that as well. So congratulations to you. Congratulations to me as well, because I had a few nice hits there, including, I think I had plus 651, which was quite crazy. We do go back to the Champions League show because, of course, the Champions League is coming up once again, Buckets. So for everybody out there, this show is just for you. Loyal listeners, the layout of the Champions League was very interesting this year. It was a new format. Of course, the top 8 of the Champions League went straight to the round of 16. So let's have a look at the 8 who are no involved in the playoffs. They are obviously waiting to see who comes through. There you have it. Liverpool, Barcelona, Arsenal, Inter, Atleti, Leverkusen, Lille, surprisingly enough, in the top 8, and Aston Villa, who are struggling so far in the Premier League, but doing okay in the Champions League. These 8 go all the way through to the round of 16, which is great, quite incredible, and great for them. Happy for them as well. Let's have a look at the seeded and unseeded teams who will be taking place in the playoffs. These are the teams who are in the seeded. These are the teams that finished in 9th to 16th place. As you can see there, Buckets, Bayern Munich are in there, Real Madrid in there, Borussia Dortmund are in there, Milan are in there, Paris are in there. Some big fucking clubs are in there as well.
Some big fucking clubs, man. So many teams that I thought would be in the top 8, not actually in the top 8, which means some extra games now that they'll have to push through.
Yeah, and let's see the unseeded teams, of course. That was, of course, Monaco, Brest, Feyenoord, Juventus, Glasgow, Celtic, Manchester City, Sporting, and Club Brugge, Manchester City being the biggest club in there, of course, most recent winners of the Champions League since Real Madrid won it last time out. The teams that are eliminated, let's have a look at the teams that we don't give a fuck about anymore, and we're not going to talk about it. These are the teams. Any big surprises there, Buckets? We noticed that Young Boys finished bottom of the table. Slovan didn't get it done for you.
Slovan didn't get it done for me, but more surprising than that is Salzburg all the way down there at 34th on the table. I was expecting a hell of a lot more fight from them. And Leipzig, Red Bull not doing great in this competition, was expecting more out of Leipzig as well.
Bring in Jurgen Klopp to correct everything Red Bull Soccer. Let's have a look at the betting odds right now as the futures stand, because, of course, Liverpool are still favourites at plus 450, Arsenal plus 600. The English teams getting favours right now, as we would expect. But then you've got Barcelona at plus 650. Then you've got Bayern Munich at plus 700. My underdog and dark horse is still Inter Milan at plus 1200. Buckets, what are you on?
I am staying the hell away from Bayern Munich at plus 700. They have not impressed me at all domestically or in Champions League so far this season. I really, really, really like Barcelona at plus 650. And if you want my dark horse, my kind of crazy shout here, Atalanta at plus 3,000, I'm absolutely going to sprinkle that in.
Well, just over the last 3 games alone, Bayern Munich scored 10 fucking goals, Bucket. So it's an interesting time for you to step away from your boys. Let's have a look at the Golden Boot. Who's going to finish top goal scorer of this competition? Robert Lewandowski at plus 250. Serhou Girassi at plus 650. We have Erling Braut Haaland at plus 650 and plus 700 for Vinny Jr. and Harry Kane, which is quite interesting as well. Top goal scorer right now, Robert Lewandowski leads the way with 9. Girassi also a 9. 4 of them have come by way of penalty kick, as you can see right there. Rafinha doing well on the 8. Vinny Jr. doing well as well on 7. So, Buckets, if you look at the odds, who would you probably go for right now?
I'll tell you who I'd stay away from first. Don't go anywhere near Serhou Girassi because Dortmund is about to get hosed by Sporting and knocked out, so they will have no more matches to play here. I got to go for Robert Lewandowski, or honestly, with how Rafinha's playing right now, I wish you could just pick a Barcelona guy to finish top, but I'm looking at those two.
Yeah, and also interesting as well that you have these playoff games, and the playoff games will give teams who are in the playoffs an extra opportunity to score more goals in the Champions League, which is quite interesting. Obviously, is it fair that you qualify in the top 8 and you don't get the 2 extra games to have an opportunity to win Golden Boot? It would be quite interesting if someone scored like 5 goals during these playoffs and eventually went up to win the Golden Boot. All right, teams to reach the final. Here's some good odds here. I wanted to throw this in because, Buckets, there are a number of great teams that can simply reach the final. Again, I'm going back to it. Inter Milan at plus 650 to reach the fucking final. Some big teams there. No one's talking about Inter. How dare anyone bet against the Italian teams?
Yeah, nobody's really talking about Inter. Or again, I'm going to go back to my boys, Atalanta at plus 1,600. They're about to play Club Brugge, which is one of, in my opinion, the easier draws during this playoff piece. Again, they're going to have to go through some big names here eventually, but I really like the Italian sides in this one, Ian.
All right, so who's in the playoff games coming up? Let's have a look at Tuesday's fixtures. There are some big games to look forward to. Brest against PSG, Juventus against PSV Eindhoven. We've got Manchester City against Real Madrid, which is just an incredible game. And then Sporting against Borussia Dortmund. I think Dortmund actually go through here, so I'm intrigued to hear what your bet's going to be there as well. Buckets, on Tuesday, anything in particular outside of that Manchester City Real Madrid game catch your attention?
Outside of that one, not really, which I feel bad for saying. That's the game that everyone's going to be watching, and understandably so. I personally will be watching that Sporting versus Dortmund game as well. You'll see why later. I got a fun parlay for that one.
I'm excited to see that one. Let's go to Wednesday's games to look forward to as well. Club Brugge against Atalanta, the one that Buck has just pointed out right there. Glasgow Celtic against Bayern Munich, which is a big game for Bayern Munich, and of course a great game for Scottish football and Celtic. Feyenoord against Milan, interesting one for Santi Jimenez, obviously going to his former club where he just transferred. And then Monaco against Benfica, which is really actually a very close game right there, but somehow, some way, I'm sort of favoring Benfica in that game. So Buckets, are you ready to strap on the seatbelts and get some best bets out to the loyal listeners?
Oh, let's absolutely do it, baby. I am stoked for these matches.
All right, let's go back into it, because you know it wouldn't be an episode of Stoppage Time if we didn't get you some wagers from a betting expert, John Bucketimer. Yes, that is, of course, our blonde bombshell, the betting unicorn, the guy who just simply cannot lose right now. I don't know if anybody knows this, but Buckets missed out this weekend. He had 10 bets for this weekend. All 10 of them hit. That's unfortunate for you guys out there because he was out with the egglicious infection. Then we go to Buckets hitting the big time this time. I want to remind everybody, this is the Champions League playoffs. These are the teams that didn't finish in the top 8 of the Champions League. We have 8 games, Buckets. We're going to do 8 separate bets. We've got 60 seconds between each bet. That's all we get. So I've got 60 seconds to tee you up, to get your bet, and to react, or maybe I will provide a bet as well. And more often than not, I do like to provide a bet. So you can't hide this weekend, the loyal listeners expect, and best believe it, we are going to fucking once again provide to them. Buckets, are you ready?
Yes, but before we start, Ian, I just want to remind everyone this is a 2-legged playoff competition, so you got to remember these teams will be playing again very shortly, so more stoppage time content to come soon.
Let's fucking start the clock, baby. We begin with the first game, which is Brest against Paris Saint-Germain. Buckets, take it away.
I'm going for a player prop here. I'm looking at PSG to probably win this game and probably score 2 or 3 goals in the process. Bradley Barcola to score or assist, Ian. It's minus 115 for the guy that has 11 goals and 5 assists already this season. It's him or Dembele, but I'm going with Barcola on this one.
Ousmane Dembele currently sitting at plus 105 anytime goal scorer. This guy's been in incredible form. Might I add you, one of the highest goal scorers in 2025. And if you look over the last, 15 games, this guy scored a remarkable amount of goals. And I think it's over the last 3 games, he scored 7 fucking goals, including 2 hat tricks. Anytime goal scorer, is there a chance for Ousmane Dembele to step up here?
Oh, absolutely. And at plus odds, I feel like you just got to take that one, Ian.
I want to remind everybody out there that this is an all-French affair. Brest doing incredibly well, obviously in the Champions League, not necessarily doing well domestically. They're currently sitting at plus 650, and the away team, Paris Saint-Germain, minus 265. Not bad buckets. What a great way to start. Let's go to the big one in Italy. It's Juventus against PSV.
Juventus versus PSV. I need to shout out Ian here because Ian has put me onto something with this Juventus side, and it is something that I'm going to continue to bet all season long. New transfer Randall Kolo Mwani, Ian, him to score or assist right now as well, plus 140, 5 goals in 3 games or something crazy like that. He has been on fire, and Ian has told me you got to bet this guy with the form he's in.
Yeah, I love this one as well, Buckets. And I think Randall Kolo Muani taking that move away from Paris Saint-Germain. Let's not forget that he played at Eintracht Frankfurt. He scored a bucket load of goals at Eintracht Frankfurt and then eventually got a move to Paris Saint-Germain for 95 million. Didn't quite score enough goals. He scored, 6 Ligue 1 goals last season, which is nowhere near good enough. And then, of course, Juventus needed him to step up and score goals. So they brought him into the football club. And since he's arrived at the football club, and especially in Serie A, he has scored a ridiculous amount of goals. I think it's 3 games now, and he scored 5 goals, which is brilliant. But this is the first time he's able to compete in the knockout stages of the Champions League. Anytime goal score for him is also a goal. Buckets, let's go to the big one. It's Manchester City against Real Madrid. This one is an epic game. This one is essentially a cup final. So we're being treated here in this new format where Real Madrid against Manchester City seems to be the game that everybody's going to be watching.
Yeah, we're absolutely being treated here, and we're being treated also with some of the best attacks right now in all of Europe and all of the planet. Kylian Mbappe in form, Erling Haaland, not necessarily in the best form, but he's Erling Haaland. He is capable of scoring from anywhere on the pitch. You got Phil Foden, you got Josko Gvardiol. There you go. So many goal scorers right now. So I'm staying off the player props. I'm actually going a weird one here, Ian, kind of copying you. First half draw at plus 130. I think this game sees 4 goals. I think a 2-2 final score is what we're looking at here, but it could be a slow start while we wait for teams to get going.
This hit for me previously. It was Erling Braut Haaland to have 2 shots on target. It hit for me in the previous time they met in the Champions League, and it happened away from home in very quick succession. He's currently sitting at plus 110 for 2 shots on target. Buckets, any chance?
Yes. Take that all day.
All right, let's go to the next game. It is Sporting Lisbon against our producer Jeff's Borussia Dortmund. Buckets, I'm intrigued on this one.
I'm going with a parlay on this one because I have no effing clue who wins this game. I hope it's Dortmund, but Dortmund's been terrible on the road. I hope it's Sporting but Sporting, one of the most inconsistent teams right now in all of Portugal. It's just a hard game to predict. So all I'm betting on is that the all-stars for both teams at least get 1 shot on target. Gyökeres, 1 shot on target, plus Girassi, 1 shot on target. Ian, even money at plus 100.
Let me ask you really quickly. Borussia Dortmund have brought in Niko Kovac. He's their new boss now in charge of the football club. Got off to a pretty poor start. They lost to Stuttgart at the weekend. They're currently sitting 11th in the table, 29 points, and sitting in 4th place is Leipzig on 36 points. Do Borussia Dortmund finish in the top 4 of the Bundesliga this season, Buckets? And cash my ticket. It was plus 115.
I think they still do. I honestly do.
Really?
Yeah, I think they do. They'll turn it around. They're Dortmund.
You've given me some sort of hope here, Buckets, that it actually happens. All right, let's go to the next game. It's Brugge, Club Brugge against Atalanta. Expect goals in this one, I'm hoping.
Absolutely expect goals in this one. And the fact that Atalanta to score 2 goals by themselves is even money at plus 100 is insulting to how good this Atalanta side has been. I know that Club Brugge right now is also a pretty good side in Belgium. They're going to play at home. They're probably going to try to make this cagey a tight affair and park the bus a little bit, but it just doesn't matter right now. Atalanta is such a fun team to watch. We just watched them pump 5 goals in against Verona, with 4 of those goals coming within the same 20 minutes of each other. They scored 2 against Barcelona on match day 8 on the road. This is a team that when Retegui is in form, they can score 2 against anyone. Plus 100 is a no-brainer for me.
Love this one. Obviously, when you look at what's happening right now, Atalanta do score goals. It's rare that you see them not scoring goals in this game. Club Brugge being very entertaining to watch as well. But with 10 seconds less to go, I'm going for both teams to score no draw. It's currently sitting at plus 170. Yep. Buckets.
Love it. I've got a 3-1 score prediction for Atalanta in this one.
All right, we've only got 3 seconds left of this one, so let's move on to the next one, which is the big one. It's Glasgow Celtic against Bayern Munich. I want to see Celtic get some sort of a result from this game. Bayern Munich, as Buckets pointed out, he's not necessarily full of confidence, but I just said there, they've scored 10 goals in their last 3 games competitively. They're still a dangerous team.
Still a dangerous team, but some defensive woes that I just can't look past right now by Bayern Munich here. Celtic, especially playing at home, can score against anyone. They can score against Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Man City. It just doesn't matter here, Ian. So I'm going with the same game parlay of both teams to score and over 2.5 goals at -115. And let me say, I would not be shocked if Celtic score 2 here and get a draw out of this first leg.
Okay, give me a scoreline prediction real quickly.
2-2, draw.
2-2, no shit. I mean, listen,
2-2.
It's very difficult when you go to Scotland and get these games with great atmospheres. I mean, Celtic need to step up there. The no Kyogo Fiorashi, who's disappeared, obviously, to a team in France, Rennes. But there is Adam Ida, who's been performing pretty well. How about this one? Adam Ida, for one shot on target, -140. To me, that's easy money against this Bayern
Easy
Munich.
money. Yep, that's amazing.
Let's go to Feyenoord against AC Milan, the Santi Jimenez game here, Buckets. This is a difficult one to predict, I think.
It's a very difficult one to predict, and I'm glad that you brought his name up because that's the guy I'm looking at. I'm expecting to see this in a top footballing respect compilation on YouTube where Santi scores his first game back at Feyenoord. He doesn't celebrate. He's respectful. He puts his head down and just walks away. But Santi and Jimenez anytime goal scorer at +200, I absolutely have to take in this matchup. He might not start, to be fair, so be careful. You might want to wait for lineups on this one to play it live, but he's going to shoot. I think he gets a goal in this one in a game that, again, probably sees 3 or 4 goals total.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy when you look at the goal scoring in this game. It's going to be very difficult to predict if AC Milan can actually put out a good performance. But obviously, Santi Jimenez would be your favorite. There's plus numbers all around in this one, which is absolutely crazy. Christian Pulisic +225, Tammy Abraham +245. And then you go to Rafa Leao +255. Anytime goal scorer in this game. It's absolutely crazy. Any of those 3 players I'd probably take in this game because I still think that Milan will show up on the day. This is the Champions League after all. Monaco against Benfica to round things up. Buckets, take it away.
You mentioned this one earlier, and I agree with you. I see goals in this fixture because anytime Monaco plays at home or anytime Monaco plays at all in recent form, we just see goals. Looking at their last 4 fixtures, 4-1 loss to PSG, 4-2 win over Auxerre, 3-2 win over Stade Rennes, 3-0 loss to Inter. Over seems to be the theme whenever you see Monaco playing, and Benfica has the talent enough not only to score, but possibly to win this tie as well here. Yeah. I'm going again with the same game parlay of both teams to score and over 2.5 goals because I don't know who wins, but I do know we're going to see goals in this one.
If you were favoring one side, which side would you favor?
I think I'd lean Benfica, which is tough for me to say because I've kind of thrown some shade at them this year, but they've surprised me so far in this competition.
Me too. I've bet against them a couple of times and been stung. How about this one? Benfica tie no bet, so draw no bet, +110. Buckets?
I love it. I think I might love that more than my bet, if I'm being honest with you, which is always frustrating, but a good thing to hear.
Round of applause, everybody. Round of applause. John Bucketsheimer doing the magic once again in the Champions League. There is all 8 games we just gave you right there. Brest against Paris Saint-Germain, Juventus against PSV, Manchester City against Real Madrid, Sporting Lisbon against Borussia Dortmund. We've got Brugge against Atalanta, Celtic against Bayern Munich, and of course, Feyenoord against AC Milan and Monaco against Benfica. That was fucking fun. The loyal listeners loved that the last time. There was a lot more games, obviously. This time, not so many games. So I would like to say to everybody, please bet responsible. Yep. But Buckets, how do you feel after that?
I'm feeling pretty good, Ian, but if I'm being totally honest with you, I don't know if that's enough for the loyal listeners.
The loyal listeners demand. You want to do some more?
They demand. Let's do some more for the listeners.
Let's go to the Europa League, baby! Here's a look at how things obviously stand right now. You've got Midtjylland against Real Sociedad, Fenerbahce against Anderlecht, Ferencváros against Pilsen, Union Saint-Gilloise against Ajax. That's a big game right there. AZ Alkmaar against Galatasaray should be a big one, of course, as well. Porto against Roma, probably the biggest one of the bunch. You've got Twente against Bodo Glimt, PAOK Thessaloniki against FCSB. Now, Buckets, I want to show you the teams who finished in the top 8 because same as the Champions League, the teams that are in the top 8 are waiting for this group of teams right now to qualify. Lazio won the group phase. They were absolutely insane. 19 points for Lazio, Athletic Club, Man United, Tottenham, Frankfurt, Lyon, Olympiacos, and Rangers all finished. And here's how the odds look right now. Now, Buckets, if you're looking for a winner, which is absolutely crazy, who would you be leaning towards?
Man, I know that Man United's your club, so I'm going to be respectful when I talk about them, but it shocks me that they are plus 450 right now with how they've been playing. But then you look at some of the other teams, Tottenham's not been playing much better. Lazio, who won the group, is a plus 700, but I genuinely don't know who's going to win this one. If I'm trying to look for a fun wager here, I'm going for a team like Galatasaray, though, at plus 1,600. They've got the talent and they've got the depth to make a deep run in this competition. And I refuse to bet a plus 450 on a team like Man United or a plus 500 on Spurs right now.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Obviously, me and producer Jeff were talking about, where the odds were when this actually started, this competition, to where they are at now. And Manchester United and Tottenham have kind of swapped places. Tottenham were at 1 point favorite, United were not, and they just swapped basically the same odds as well. I think it was 500 and 450. Lazio's the one who's taken the biggest jump. I think they were plus 1,400. I think they were, and they've jumped down to plus 700, which is quite incredible. But still, Lazio's a dangerous team. And in this competition, I'd watch out for Eintracht Frankfurt. They're currently sitting at plus 1,000, and they're a team that has history in this competition of winning it as well. So, Buckets, you ready? Same format, 8 games, 8 bets, 60 seconds. Ready to get in there?
Let's do it.
We go again. Let's begin with Midtjylland against Real Sociedad. Good luck.
I'm so glad you said that because I've never once pronounced that team name correctly. Midtjylland, now I know how to pronounce that. This is the first time Midtjylland has ever played against a Spanish team in a Europa competition, and this is the first time Real Sociedad has ever faced a Danish side themselves either. So we have no head-to-head history to look at here. We've got no recent form. We've got to go with our gut, and my gut says that Midtjylland, when playing at home, will make something happen. Maybe not on the road, but Ian, I got to go with BTTS because if you are Midtjylland, the only way you get out of this tie is if you make something big happen in this first leg at home. They're not going to stop Sociedad from scoring, but they'll get one themselves.
Yeah, I heard you there. Not stopping Sociedad from scoring goals. I'm looking at Real Sociedad over 1.5 team total goals here, currently sitting in plus numbers, plus 110 for Real Sociedad, simply to score 2 goals in this game. I think both of these legs, home and away, should be high-scoring affairs. So I like the over 2.5 as well. I think Buckets could be really onto something here. So I'm expecting to see Real Sociedad turn up on the day and really put out something pretty special. Let's go to a crazy game here. Fenerbahce against Anderlecht. Where are you going there?
Out of every single match taking place in Europa League, I think this one will have the most goals, full stop. Fenerbahce so far in Europa League have been, frankly, a bit of a disappointment. Yes, they did manage to qualify for this playoff round, but they conceded against teams like Slavia or Praha. They conceded against teams that really they had no business conceding against. They drew 2-2 to Midtjylland when they played them on the road. This is a team that has so much talent, but they refuse to live up to that talent, and Anderlecht is going to look to take advantage of that. Ian, it might sound like a cop-out, but I'm going for the exact same wager here. Both teams to score at minus 120. I absolutely see 3 or 4 goals in this one.
Aiden Dzeko is currently sitting at plus 130 anytime goal score. He's the favorite to actually get a goal in this game. Yusuf Al-Nesri also not too far in plus numbers. But Aiden Dzeko currently sitting on that number is not bad with 12 goals in 22 matches in the Super League so far this season. 18 goals across all competitions this season, including 2 in the Europa League. He had 4 in the Champions League as well, obviously trying to go through qualifications. So there's my look. Ferencváros against Viktoria Pilsen. Good luck with this one.
I promise you guys that not every bet will be both teams to score, but the first 3 are going to be because BTTS at plus 100 looks absolutely delicious for a Viktoria Pilsen side that did really well in the group stages to always score 1 goal. Not necessarily good enough to win, but they lost 3-1 to Athletic Club. They scored against Manchester United. They scored against Real Sociedad. This is a team that scored in 5 of their last 6 Europa League fixtures here, and they are good enough, if not to win, to get one against this Ferencváros side. I know I said that one wrong, who will also score at home here, Ian.
Ferencváros are an interesting team as well. And they're actually managed right now by Robbie Keane, which is, of course, an LA Galaxy player. He is, of course, a famous Premier League player. He's also, of course, a famous Republic of Ireland player as well. They're plus 120 at home. Their recent result in the Europa League was pretty good. They beat AZ Alkmaar by 4 goals to 3. So expect goals from them. But since then, they've not won. In fact, they lost at home in a big game against Puskás FC Academy, 1-0 in a massive game. So they're second in their domestic table. Union Saint-Gilloise against Ajax Amsterdam.
This is a very tough one for me because, again, I see goals, but I didn't want to do BTTS for every single matchup, so I had to switch it up here. I am looking at an Ajax side that, Ian, we've talked about this. When they play at home, my God, they are terrifying. They are a very, very good side. Our supporters are rowdy. It's a great environment. On the road, still a threat, but just not to the same degree here. USG has been decent enough for me to say that I am okay taking USG over 1.5 team total, Ian. It's plus 110. I'm getting plus odds for USG side that know that on the second leg, it's going to be a nightmare. So make something happen in this first leg.
I really like this Ajax Amsterdam side. I think they're doing something pretty special this year. And get this, Buckets, this weekend with their victory, they're now top of the table in Eredivisie which is absolutely crazy. PSV have thrown away a 9-point lead they had. Ajax have fought all the way back, and now they're all of a sudden top of the table. So Ajax right now, draw no bet, is currently sitting at plus 110. I'd bet carefully on this one because, as Bucket pointed out, away from home, it's much more difficult for Ajax. Amsterdam. AZ Alkmaar against Galatasaray. A difficult one to predict, this one, but I've got a feeling I know where you're going to go here.
I got a feeling you think you know where I'm going, but I'm going to switch it up on you because the easy one for me to say is both teams to score at over 2.5, which I do think happens here, Ian. But I think it's going to be a very slow start to this fixture because these are two teams that are both good enough to score, both good enough to keep this competitive, and both teams are good enough to get 3 points here, which means we could see a draw. I'm going for a first half draw at plus 130 because I'm expecting a bit of a slow start. I honestly wouldn't be shocked actually if this is 1-1 at halftime, but eventually something's going to break for these teams. It's just going to take a bit longer than usual. Going for that first half draw at plus odds.
Do you have any time goal score for me?
It's got to be Osimhen if he's starting.
Yeah, Osimhen, okay. I would say if there's a possibility, but he's not necessarily up there. How about this one? Troy Parrott, plus 140, anytime goal scorer. He is not bad right now. In domestic play, he's got 16 goals across all comps, 12 in Eredivisie, 1 in the Dutch Cup, and he's got 3 already in Europa League. So plus 140, Troy Parrott, he's on fire. Let's go to FC Porto against Roma. This is a real good game to look forward to.
This is a really good game to look forward to, but it's a game that, frankly, Ian, I had a really hard time finding a wager for. Out of every fixture, all 16 we're giving out, this is the one that I spent the most time at because this Roma side is a team that I've probably lost more money betting on than any other club in Europe. Anytime I bet them to do bad, they do great, and vice versa, which means I had to do something that hurts me to my very core here. I'm actually on under 2.5 goals, Ian, in this one, currently priced at minus 110, because these are two teams, again, that are good enough to win this fixture. And it's a matchup where a draw is probably not a bad result for either side. So this could be a very cagey and slow first leg with something big needing to happen in the second leg. My score prediction here is 1-1 draw, but I'm going with the under 2.5.
Can I just throw out there that Roma have been a great side under new boss Claudio Ranieri, who's there till the end of the season. If you're looking for an anytime goal scorer, there's a lot of high numbers on this game. One that sticks out to me is Artem Dovbyk, plus 250 anytime goal scorer is absolutely insane numbers for me. Twente against Bodo Glimt.
Plus 250 is disgusting. I'm tailing that. Twente versus Bodo Glimt. I know we're not supposed to focus on the last game, but let's focus on this one here. Bodo Glimt is kind of a tough team to bet on because, again, really good side at home, but they haven't really started their season yet. This is a team that is still knocking the rust off their legs. They're not getting that consistent play that we're seeing teams like Twente get in the Eredivisie. Twente. Whoops. I'm going with Twente over 1.5 team total at minus 135 here on this one. Ian, Twente is just the better side with more experience. And this is a team that is in this first leg, especially. I think they score 3 here. So I love the fact that over 1.5 team total is playable.
Looking at the future from this playoff, you've obviously leaned towards Twente actually qualifying through this one. The odds are pretty good for qualifying through. I mean, of course, it's 2 legs. Don't forget that one. But Twente minus 120 simply to advance over 2 legs. Bodo Glimt are minus 110. So the bookies are saying that this one's going to be a close game. But minus 120 to advance, obviously, you mentioned there they've got the better squad. I actually agree with you. I think Twente should go through here. But Bodo, who knows? PAOK Thessaloniki against FCSB. Buckets, last one.
Some of our favorite teams here with PAOK Thessaloniki taking on FCSB. I know that everyone's expecting a big wager for me on this one, Ian, and so I'll give them that. I'm going PAOK over 1.5 team total at minus 110 because this is a matchup that screams home field advantage means everything. These are two teams that are not going to go on past this knockout stage. One of them's going to advance and then get mauled by whoever they play next. 2 of the smaller clubs in this competition as a whole, and I think PAOK win at home, and I think FCSB win at home. So I'll probably do the exact reverse bet in the second leg, but we also have to look at the fact that FCSB struggles massively historically in knockout competitions, having lost their last 6 knockouts in European competition. I think PAOK win this first leg.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I don't know which way to go for this one. So if I was looking for a simple play, just something easy, it would probably be first half draw in this game. It's at plus 115 because I'm finding it hard to find a winner in both of these games, which is absolutely crazy. Difficult to predict in the Europa League, that is for sure. Buckets. Woo! Another show in the books. I know everybody loves these shows and the 60 seconds seems to be working for everybody out there. How do you feel about it?
I think it's honestly, I really enjoy it, but I think it tests me more than I've been tested in this industry in a very long time because it forces me to give what is normally a 3-minute take in kind of a 30-second take, which is always fun. I'm always up for a challenge.
I've noticed that you're turning those, 30, 40 seconds that you have sometimes into 15 seconds because you're just like, here's my bet, fuck off and leave me alone.
I'm panicking a little bit for especially some of these teams that frankly I don't know as well. It's like, Pauka's pretty good, bet them to score 2. Thanks, Ian. Oh, there we go.
It's pretty crazy, though. I'm certainly enjoying the new format of UEFA. I think it's been a real winner for everybody out there. And it's great for us bettors as well. And of course, as we go through time, me and Buckets will continue to do as best we possibly can to provide the best wagers for you. Hopefully you enjoy this new format. Again, write in the comments. Make sure you let us know what you think about it. If you've got a favorite bet, share with us in the comments as well. We try to get as many comments out there as possible when we have a slower show. But these shows have been pretty epic. And I think people are really enjoying them. So hopefully we can get the same amount of views as we got the last time. I think in 24 hours we got over 3,000 views with just the YouTube link, but I think we were like over 10,000 views within like 24, 36 hours across all of our platforms, including all the videos that went out on TikTok. We got over 20,000 views altogether on all of our social medias, which was absolutely insane. So Buckets, the loyal listeners are enjoying, and we're certainly giving them what they want.
We absolutely are, but not everything they want, because Ian, I'm going to be honest, I don't know if I could have done this for the Mickey Mouse Cup. It would have been hard for me to give out a wager for Bakla Topala taking on Yaglioni, but maybe in the future.
Well, I've got a surprise for you. We're going to do it. Here is your 8 bets for the... I'm only joking. Just kidding. I can't even pronounce some of the teams who are still in that competition. Let's talk Chelsea. Just kidding. Anyway, it's a different format in the conference as well. They play different formats. It's not the same. They didn't play as many games as well. So that's why it's called the Mickey Mouse competition to me. But yeah, listen, I'm going to be on, obviously, CBS Sports Galazzo Network this week. You can catch me on Scoreline. I will be on immediately after the final whistle on CBS Sports Galazzo Network. You can see me and Adam Hunt. I can't remember. I think I'm working with Chris Whittingham on the Tuesday's games as well. So make sure you jump on and enjoy the games with us. It's going to be absolutely banging because these playoff games are going to be unpredictable. We're going to be going through all the highlights, all the analysis. I'll throw some betting tips in there for everybody out there, and I'll also let people know what the odds were moving like during games while I'm doing Scoreline. So make sure you jump on there. Buckets, where can people watch you this week?
You can watch me on the Early Edge most weekdays this week. You can also catch me on CBS HQ. I'll be on the Sports Network there. I believe I'm with Katie Mox this week talking about some Champions League fixtures as well. I'll be on tomorrow as well as Wednesday, so keep an eye out.
Would you have any success with the Super Bowl bets?
I had 2 Super Bowl bets, and I went 2-0. I had the coin toss would be tails and Patrick Mahomes to throw an interception, so I'm happy with that.
Wow. I went KC Chiefs, so I got slammed a pie in my face. That is for sure. Great show, buddy. Great to see you. I'm glad you're healthy and happy again. Loyal listeners out there, please make sure you go like and subscribe to the show as much as you possibly can. Drop a comment. Make sure you share the show as much as you possibly can as well. Producer Jeff, we love you for all the great work that you're doing out there. Everybody, make sure you bet responsibly. That is the biggest message I'm leaving to everybody. Please make sure you bet responsibly because these games are going to be incredible. 2-legged affairs now across all of the games that we just gave out there. There may be some hesitation in teams. There may be some rotation as well. So please don't forget that. We are just simply giving out information. You choose the bet. Win or lose. Make sure you have fun, but make sure you bet responsibly. Most importantly, make sure you absolutely have it!